The actors Robbie and Stephen Amell, you know their work from, in Stephen's case, obviously, most recently Arrow, which is in its 8th and final season, currently on the CW, and also Robbie, who has played The Flash. And now they are both in a film called Code 8 that is in theaters and on demand next Friday, where they are playing a couple of guys with supernatural abilities in a crazy-ass world. Good to see you both, Stephen and Robbie Amell, together. How are you guys?
Good, thanks.
Good, man.
Yeah, good to see both of you here.
You too.
Okay, so where do we start with you guys? Have you ever been in a film before? Is this the first time you guys ever worked together, or what?
We worked together on The Flash, but we didn't have any lines together.
What do you mean?
They wrote we team up for a fight against one of the big bads, and there were like 5 different versions of the script where we said things to each other, and they were just like, you can't talk. It's too weird. People know you're related.
Yeah. What about a line that I just look at him and go, "You look familiar"? Something like that. We should have.
Would have been fun.
We should have asked to ad lib one take. They would have kept it.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. I mean, what are they going to do? Fire you on the spot for ad-libbing a line?
It was the early days. They'd probably fire us.
They could have actually done that. That you couldn't have pulled the "Do you know who I am" sort of card, pretty much like that. So, how are you? You related to your cousins? Who's the relating?
Dads are brothers.
Your dads are brothers.
Yeah.
Okay, and you grew up in Toronto.
Grew up in Toronto.
Okay.
We spent a lot of time together as kids. I'm 7 years older than Robbie, and then we reconnected, kind of me in my late 20s and him in his early 20s when we got here.
Okay. Now, are you Raptors fans? Are you how would you describe what's your allegiance sports wise?
Yeah, I love the Raptors. I grew up a Leafs fan because our grandfather was on the board of directors at Maple Leaf Gardens. So
Okay.
There was a lot of games. Yeah. But the Leafs were really bad for a long time and didn't really do anything about it.
Okay.
And we moved to LA, and
Now you go Kings go.
well, we got season tickets for a fraction of what it would have costed. You can't get them in Toronto.
And then they won the cup.
And we watched
twice.
them win 2 cups with a lot of Canadians on the team. Yeah.
So, are you taking credit for the Los Angeles Kings championship run? Is that
Yeah, well, we stopped getting season seats after 2014. So
now look at them now.
for me, I was in the house for Game 6, Raptors Warriors in Oakland, and there's a photo of me sitting on the ground outside Oracle Arena crying. And I'm flying to Toronto for one day next week to watch them give Kawhi his ring. So yes, I'm a Raptors fan.
So you are a Raptors fan.
Yeah.
Out there crying, huh?
Well, I was overwhelmed.
I know. But you were there, right?
I was there. I was about
for it?
8 rows above the Raptors bench.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, where are you on the pecking order with Drake in terms of celebrity ambassadors?
In terms of celebrity Raptors fans?
Celebrities, yeah, celebrity Raptors fans. Stephen, where are you? on that?
I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, be up there. Mike Myers is at a lot of games, isn't he?
Okay.
Is he?
I thought he was. I
don't know because I don't live in Toronto. I don't know where my pecking order is. I feel like I'm a lot higher in terms of Rams fans than I'm given credit for. They show Danny Trejo all the time, and I'm like, well, okay.
Well, he's legitimate. I mean, I think he was.
So am I.
Well, I mean, but he was here, I think, when, like Deacon Jones was here. You know what I mean? Like, I think he's got a little bit more Los Angeles roots.
I got season seats when they came back, and my wife and I have been to see them in Seattle this year. We were in Arizona last weekend, and we're going to Dallas.
New Orleans, right, too?
And we went to New Orleans twice. Last year, we were there for the NFC Championship.
So you were there for that. What was that like to be? Were you wearing like Rams gear in the building?
Oh, yes.
What was that?
People in New Orleans New Orleans is my second favorite city in the United States after LA, and they're so lovely. And because of where I was right behind the Rams bench. I was completely unaware of what happened.
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
They didn't show the replay in the stadium. I couldn't see because I was so low.
Right.
And it was on the other side of the field towards the Saints bench on the sidelines.
Right.
I didn't know what happened. So I was gleeful.
You were just totally oblivious when it came down to it. And walking out of the building, they were still like cool.
Yeah, we had a seat saved at a bar filled with Saints fans.
How about that?
And we watched the AFC Championship game. And then they showed the highlights from the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
And I got a little worried.
Threw a jacket on.
No, I didn't.
No.
I actually asked for security to walk me to the washroom when I had to go.
So, because you didn't have your bow and arrow on you to take care of business yourself. Stephen and Robbie Amell here on the Rich Eisen Show. And then I'm doing NFL Game Day Morning 2 weeks later at the Super Bowl. And on occasion, I'll just look down at my Twitter feed to see what people are talking about. And all of a sudden, my Twitter feed is lit up because the best I could tell is somebody was talking about how handsome I was in person. And it's Stephen Amell with his 2.4, maybe a little bit less than back then, maybe like only 2 point some odd million Twitter followers saying, it's weird. At Rich Eisen is way more handsome in person. And I'm just wondering what's so weird about that, Stephen.
Nothing's weird about it. It's about 3 hours before game time. You get to the Super Bowl early, apparently, because it's like boarding an international flight. And I was down at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I wasn't on the field level, but they have this club where you're basically, you don't have field passes, but you're
right
on field level.
Yeah.
And I just thought it'd be a funny thing to tweet because I had had a few beers, and then I went back to my Twitter feed, and I'm looking down, and I looked up, and you were 2 feet in front of my face.
Because I looked around, and I'm like, that's okay. I see Stephen, and then I saw your wife with you as well. Yeah. And no offense, but I would have been much better if your wife was the one who had tweeted that out.
I couldn't agree more.
Okay, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So. Not that there's anything wrong with that whatsoever, but yeah, that's how you and I got to.
You were very pleasant. We had a nice chat.
We did.
And I only tweet the truth.
And I by the way, and I appreciate the absurd number of CW Twitter followers that started tweeting at me that normally might not have on a Super Sunday.
Sorry.
No, it's great. It's fine. I've got a large tent. I'm willing to bring anybody in. So, and then I saw you in the green room. I said, good to meet you, Robbie. And we have met before. We had actually met before today, as you're saying.
Yeah, you emceed a golf tournament at Lakeside Golf Club.
We play in the in the Los Angeles Red Cross tournament every year.
The Red Cross one, yes. Okay.
And then what happened?
You presented me with a long drive.
A golf bag, club glove? Did I give you a club glove?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you win the long drive?
I did.
You've got that game?
I'm a much better golfer than I am football player.
All right, now let's get into this. What's the name of this film that suddenly went viral on Twitter a few months ago, Robbie?
You know what's messed up? It's called The Duff, and it's a teen comedy. And the guy who posted it had no business watching ABC Family when it was on. When we shot the movie, I fought really hard. We got to set, and there was a big, giant diffusion set up.
Yes.
Right where I'm supposed to throw a football.
Explain what a diffusion is to those who don't know.
We're shooting in Atlanta. It's the middle of the summer, and the sun is beating down on you.
Yes.
So the cinematographer sets up a giant diffusion, which is like
a screen, right?
A giant white screen.
Right. To keep the sun from bashing into you.
From coming into you.
Right.
So I get to my mark, and right where I'm supposed to throw a football is a giant diffusion. So I'm like, where am I supposed to throw this football? And they're like, well, just throw it to somebody standing beside the camera. I'm like, so I'm throwing the football to someone 3 feet in front of me.
Right.
And this is just a PA who's standing beside the camera, and I don't want to rifle a football at somebody a few feet from me.
With diffusion equipment all around,
well,
right?
I just ended up making this stupid, dinky dunk pass.
Throwing motion.
I fought the director on it.
You fought it. You fought the director on it.
Yeah, I was like, just make some space for me. And they're like, we don't have time for this, which is true. It's a 5-week shoot. It's my first lead role in a movie. I don't have any real power. When it went viral, the director texted me, and he's like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, I told you. I told you this would happen. And he was like, I can go on Twitter. I'm like, don't. It's fine. I'm like, just hopefully it'll die one day. And then it went way more viral. And I had friends hitting me up, and they're like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, shut up. This is not my fault.
When I got in touch with him immediately, and he said, I have been dreading this day since the premiere of the film.
I thought it was free.
It had been lying in wait.
The movie came out in it was 6 years ago. I'm like, great. I went to the premiere, I saw it, and I was like, oh my God. It's going to happen right away. And in of all the reviews, I only saw one where someone called it out. And social media wasn't that big yet. And I was like, okay, I'm clear. And then this happened, and my poor wife, my blood was boiling for 2 days.
Because you're a competitor, Robbie Amell, right?
Well, I grew up playing sports. I grew up playing really competitive hockey. I played high school football, but it's not nearly as big in Canada. But I'm the guy who hates seeing poor athleticism on camera. because I didn't grow up an actor, and it just always really bugs me. And I was like, this is my nightmare, being the guy that I hate.
But there was.
I'm really glad we're talking about it.
But there wasn't. You couldn't sidearm it. You couldn't because it. I mean, like
I couldn't really do anything. Honestly,
Have them paint the football in post. Just go empty hand, or tell them, or say no, or tell them, hey, just change the line so that I'm about to throw, and then my co-star says something, and I pull it back.
But sometimes you can't do that, because when we discussed it the next day, and everybody, Robbie, was all over you.
Of course.
To the point where you dragged your wife.
My poor wife.
She's pregnant, right?
Yeah, so she couldn't catch the football. So a friend of mine who's in our fantasy football league, he texted me. I'm like, come over, please. I'm like, I just need you to catch a football in the street. And he's like, you're going to throw? I'm like, look, my throw's not perfect, but it's a hell of a lot better than what's on screen.
So your wife is shooting this video so you could show that you can actually throw it.
Yeah. He dropped a few passes. That was like take 4. Poor Chad.
See, now the next day, I came on this set,
yes,
Robbie.
you came to my defense.
Yes, because I had a similar situation.
You didn't wash your hands when you pee.
Well, let's place this in context now. I was doing a SportsCenter commercial with Stuart Scott, who's washing his hands at the men's room.
Yep.
You hear a flush. I come out of a stall. You hear a flush. A jockey walks out of the stall. You hear a flush, and then the horse walks behind Stuart, who makes kind of this look like that's strange and just continues washing his hands. And I said, I'm into this, except for the fact I have to wash my hands walking out.
We don't have time. It'll kill the comedic timing.
All of that.
Yeah.
And the sound guy, seeing me beg the directors and the associate directors and everybody for
and they go,
the extra time.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't. The sound guy.
No one will notice.
He says to me, "It's more important. Don't worry that you wash your hands before you go in there." And I'm like, "That doesn't matter." And you could see the screen grab up there. The way I handled it is I walked out of the stall with my hands in my pockets.
Oh my god.
To make it seem like, I didn't use anything in there and I don't have to wash my hands.
Yeah, you kept your hands in your pockets the whole time.
Were you hiding?
I wasn't thinking clearly, Steven. I was beside myself. And unlike you, Robbie, where you knew it was kind of like a sleeper cell for 7 years.
Nightmare. I know.
For me, it was just like a week until I wound up in like Yankee Stadium for the World Series and somebody screamed out, "Yo, Eisen, why don't you wash your hands when you go to the can?" And I was so pissed off. And there was no Twitter.
And you
there
can't
was
do anything about it.
No, I couldn't. I couldn't take to the streets to show off how I can wash my hands.
The funniest are people on Twitter that are like, I don't care. If I was throwing the football, I'd have set it up in a way where I could really throw the ball. And I'm like, that's fine, but you've never been on a movie set. Like a day on a movie set costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. You're gonna try and push production by an hour. Good luck.
I direct messaged the segment to you, Steven. I'm like, you got to help your boy out here, man.
Yeah, you did. That's how I found out about it.
But I don't think you did. I think you piled on in a way or
Yeah,
something
he did.
like that.
He's like, Robbie's very athletic for an actor. I was like, thanks, I guess.
Oh,
But
man.
I've got a couple of sleeper cells out there. Don't you worry. And I'll
excellent.
This is ridiculous. I know for a fact that Robbie's an excellent athlete for an actor. Boy, you just kept shoveling dirt.
Yep.
There you go.
I appreciate your help, though.
Well, you're showing off some great abilities and some great supernatural abilities in Code 8. Tell me all about this movie. Robbie, go for it. What do you got? Or Steven?
Takes place in a world where 4% of people have these abnormal abilities, but they're marginalized for them. Most live under the poverty line, and in our world, the many outnumber the few, and for that reason, they're kind of held back, suppressed. The police force is very militarized, and at its core, our movie's really about how far someone will go to save a loved one, which is what we think kind of everyone could relate to.
Yeah, we shot this back in 2016, 2015.
Well, we shot a short film, turned it into the feature. We shot the feature over the last 2 summers.
Right, and it's very strange because the movie hits on a lot of tones that are very prevalent in discussion nowadays.
Yeah.
And the most cool thing about it for us is it started out as an idea, and then we tried to do some crowdfunding and wanted to raise $200,000 and ended up raising over $2 million, and got to make something really cool with family and friends.
That's amazing. And it's going to be, again, in theaters and on demand next Friday, 1 week from today. Robbie plays the role of Connor Reed, who has supernatural abilities is to throw a football 3,000 yards. And Steven plays the role of Garrett, who throws Connor under a bus. So these are very great supernatural abilities. Check it out. Code 8. Great to see you guys.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download The Rich Eisen Show app.